The quiet night is shattered by breaking news. Our boy Kim Seonwoo sits frozen, watching in disbelief as the TV announces the impossible. The world's S-rank protagonist has been killed. As the broadcast continues, the entire nation is plunged into deep shock and mourning over the sudden fall of their greatest hero. But for Seonwoo, a transmigrator, the sky is falling. Gripping the remote in a cold sweat, he's terrified. How can the main character die at this point in the story? Before he can even process the situation, the butterfly effect triggers. Accompanied by a blinding light and a mysterious system prompt, the world's fate is forced into a complete reset. Seonwoo recalls his original plan. He thought that if he just played the background extra and let Seojun win, he could easily return home. No one expected the invincible hero to fail. With his hopes of going home shattered, Seonwoo collapses. He remembers a casual debate with his friends back in the real world. If you become an extra, do you steal the plot armor or lay low? Back then, his stance was crystal clear: never interfere. If his actions somehow caused the protagonist to die, he'd be the one forced to suffer those deadly trials instead. His friends roasted his cowardly mindset then, but looking back, it's incredibly ironic. Because in this newly reset world, the real trouble is just about to knock on his door. Looking back 7 years ago, our boy was just hanging out with friends when he suddenly received a mysterious winning notification from the author of his favorite novel. While his friends were cheering for his free trip, he didn't think much of it and hit yes, only to be dragged straight into the novel's world. Knowing how dangerous the plot was, our guy decided to lay low as a background character, staying far away from the main storyline to live peacefully. But things didn't go as planned. One day, the space around him suddenly glitched and collapsed like a broken system, throwing him hard onto the ground. He struggled to his feet, only to witness a horrifying scene. The entire city was bathed in an eerie purple light, and pedestrians were disintegrating into data fragments right before his eyes. Just then, a blaring red system warning revealed the grim truth. The original protagonist, Lee Seo-jun, had died in battle, causing the main scenario to fail completely. Before our boy could even process the shock, a chilling prompt announced the world's reset. He could only watch helplessly as everything shattered in blinding light. Amidst blurred shouts, our boy jolts awake only to find himself on a moving bus. Before he can even process the situation, the driver is already impatiently yelling at him to get off. Our boy is completely dazed. He clearly remembers the world ending just moments ago. The solid ground beneath his feet makes him wonder if that catastrophic apocalypse was all just a nightmare. Shielding his eyes from the blinding sun, our boy looks up and freezes. A banner for the 2032 entrance ceremony hangs before him, confirming the impossible. He has traveled 7 years back in time. Regression, a trope straight out of a novel, is now his reality. Taking in the familiar sights of the academy, he finally accepts that he's truly back on the day it all began. Entering the bustling ceremony hall, the atmosphere is exactly as he remembers. With no way back, our boy accepts his fate and begins to re-examine the world he once barely survived. However, a burning question haunts him. In the original story, why did the genius protagonist Lee Seo-jun die? There was absolutely no reason for someone of his caliber to meet such an end. Memories of the rampaging purple beast flood back. Lee Seo-jun should have won that fight, suggesting that a hidden, terrifying force must have been pulling the strings from the shadows. Looking at the restless crowd, our boy can't help but worry. If the original hero, Lee Seo-jun, dies again in this life, the entire world might just face total destruction. Determined to return to his original world, our boy clenches his fist with a sharp gaze. He can't just be a bystander anymore. He has to step up and ensure the hero survives. Action speaks louder than words. Our boy decides his first step is to get close to the key players, starting with the elite second-year student, Yahello. But the ice-breaking goes south immediately. Faced with our boy's stiff greeting, Yahello looks up with a cold, suspicious gaze that says she's not interested at all. Questioned by the Ice Queen herself, our boy breaks into a cold sweat. Yahello doesn't hold back either, bluntly telling him that his forced familiarity is making her uncomfortable. Watching her walk away, our boy can only manage a resigned smile. It seems that changing the social dynamics of this world is going to be a lot harder than he anticipated. As the ceremony begins, the student representatives take the stage. The moment Lee Seo-jun appears, the crowd erupts in whispers, awestruck by the overwhelming presence of the legendary genius. As the students buzz about Seo-jun's talent, our boy stands quietly in the shadows. His journey to rewrite history and change his fate has only just begun. At the entrance ceremony, top senior Era instantly steals the spotlight. Watching her calculated smile, our boy wonders why such a minor original character is getting so much attention. As the student oath begins, the top representatives step forward. The entire hall falls silent, with all eyes fixed on these talented freshmen taking the stage. After the ceremony, our boy tries his luck at striking up a conversation to score some points with the aloof senior. Unfortunately, she responds with an incredibly cold glare. Facing Era's intimidating glare, our boy doesn't back down. To grab her attention, he confidently throws out bait, claiming she's even better than the geniuses on stage. This unexpected praise clearly strikes a nerve. As Era defensively questions his intentions, our guy stays perfectly calm, casually replying that he can tell her true strength just by looking. Seeing that flattery is only making things worse, our boy changes tactics. He directly points out her hidden anxieties about the future, completely catching the senior off guard. Feeling exposed, Era locks her glowing red eyes onto his name tag. With a fierce warning tone, she makes it crystal clear that she won't forget the name Kim Seonwoo. After warning him never to speak to her again, the senior storms off. Looking at this deeply negative starting relationship, our boy starts sweating, realizing he might have completely ruined everything. The new semester at the Magic Academy kicks off with a high-stakes ranking evaluation on day 1. While the other students are sweating with nerves, our boy remains completely unfazed. After all, he's a veteran armed with memories from his past life. To avoid the endless troubles he faced before, he secretly plans to hide his true strength and comfortably slide into the top 10. As the test begins, students take turns unleashing their strongest magic on the high-speed dummies. The arena is quickly filled with dazzling light effects and the roar of bursting energy. Soon it's the second year's turn, and their masterful fire magic instantly raises the bar. Watching the stunning performances, the crowd stares in wide-eyed disbelief, calling it professional level. But the real star of the show is the top genius, Lee Seo-jun. With a sharp gaze, he draws his sword and dashes forward like a blur, flawlessly slicing through the dummies and displaying terrifying dominance. The crowd is still buzzing about the top-tier student's immense power when the teacher suddenly calls out Kim Seonwoo's name. Caught off guard while enjoying the show, our boy realizes his break time is over. It's finally our boy's turn to take the test. However, the teachers whispering on the balcony have absolutely no memory of him, given his zero presence. Looking at his past records, the teachers expect reinforcement magic. Instead, he steps up to the dummies and casually fires off a blue spiral of manifestation magic. Just as the teacher dismisses his performance as ordinary, Seonwoo suddenly claps his hands to highly compress his mana. This unbelievable advanced technique instantly shocks the top students. How can a second year use a technique like that? Amidst the crowd's shock, our boy unleashes a blinding blast of energy, triggering a massive explosion. The whole stadium is left speechless. But the coolness doesn't last long. Seonwoo suddenly breaks into a cold sweat and collapses on stage. The oblivious crowd assumes he just ran out of mana. Only Seonwoo knows things have gone wrong. Staring at the sudden blue system interface, he's completely bewildered as to why his outsider system is forcefully activating right now. Later in his room, Seonwoo sits alone on his bed, deep in thought. Recalling his past life, he realizes the timing is completely off. The real changes to the timeline have just begun. Surrounded by familiar glowing lights, our boy successfully unlocks his exclusive cheat Outsiders benefits system. With the main scenario starting, his second playthrough rewards are already rolling in. His embarrassing performance at the entrance ceremony didn't just unlock the clown achievement, but also caught the attention of the main characters, earning him a massive points payout. Sitting on his bed, our guy smugly reviews his earnings. This is his exclusive privilege. The more attention and achievements he gathers, the more points he farms. The most overpowered part of this system is the points shop. With enough points, he can directly buy top-tier traits, skills, and rare items. Looking back at his circus-like performance, our boy still feels a bit embarrassed. But considering the hefty point rewards, he decides it's totally worth it. However, when he eagerly opens his status screen, his excitement vanishes. Thanks to the world reset, all the hard-earned stats from his past life have been completely wiped out. But he quickly calms down. Since everything is reset, this gives him the perfect opportunity to reallocate his stats and build a flawless skill tree. Wanting the flashiest combat style, our guy decides to main the manifestation skill. Just as he's about to max out his mana, a new notification suddenly pops up. Seeing his follower count skyrocket just from a silly moment, our boy was absolutely thrilled. Easy points for a little embarrassment. Looking at the massive 2,000-point reward, he couldn't believe his eyes. The attention he got actually exceeded the entire student body. Checking the school forum, he found his embarrassing test video had gone viral. It was humiliating, but those sweet system points made it completely worth it. Hungry for even more points, he made a bold decision. He was going to ride this wave and steal everyone's attention. The next morning, he was quite satisfied with the trending scandal. Just as expected, the second he opened the classroom door, he became the center of attention. Before he could even sit down, the blonde bully Park In-hwan picked a fight. Grabbing our boy's shoulder, he and his cronies relentlessly mocked his embarrassing performance. Faced with such a cheap public provocation, our guy just sighed inwardly. To protect his long-term plans, he decided to play the coward and lay low for now. The school's notorious troublemaker, Park In-hwan, is at it again. He mocks our boy, calling him a blockhead and warning him to fall in line if he wants to survive school life. Just then, the story's original protagonist, Lee Seo-jun, steps in. With a single stern warning from the S-class genius, the arrogant In-hwan loses his nerve and retreats, grumbling all the way. Once the coast is clear, Seo-jun checks on our boy and brings up that viral confession video from yesterday, his gaze becoming surprisingly intense. Recalling that embarrassing moment makes our boy break into a cold sweat. Luckily, Seo-jun's honest nature shines through as he reassures him, blaming the person who leaked the video instead. Just as they're about to part ways, Seo-jun suddenly corners our boy and drops a bombshell. He wants them to team up for the dungeon class. This unexpected proposal leaves our boy completely stunned. Faced with our boy's utter confusion, Seo-jun smiles confidently. He insists that teaming up is a win-win, but why a top-tier genius would choose an underdog remains a mystery. Though our boy is baffled, Seo-jun's serious expression shows he means business. With this sudden invitation, the gears of fate between them have begun to shift in unexpected ways. Faced with our boy's team-up request, the genius Lee Seo-jun is initially dismissive. But when our guy claims he has two winning reasons, Seo-jun decides to hear him out. Our boy's first reason is that he's dead last in the year. This makes Seo-jun laugh, but our guy quickly explains the team test's underdog scoring adjustment. Teaming up the top student with the worst guarantees a higher score. To ease Seo-jun's doubts, he points out their main rival Yahello is using the exact same strategy. Seeing Seo-jun convinced, our boy throws in an unexpected third reason, himself. He confidently states that for someone in last place, his actual skills are remarkably solid. This witty pitch completely wins Seo-jun over. He gladly agrees to team up, on the condition that he gets to pick the remaining members. This smooth negotiation not only secures a powerhouse teammate, but also earns our guy 2,000 system points. Later, we cut to a ridiculously boring magic history class. Just when the whole class is about to fall asleep, our boy completely breaks character and raises his hand to answer a question, eager to farm more system points. During magic history class, while most students are falling asleep, our boy is fiercely taking notes. Thanks to his system's auto-translation, even complex theories are easy. Seeing his intense study mode, the kids in the back start whispering and mocking him out of jealousy. The teacher quickly shuts down the haters and dismisses class. Right after class, the original protagonist Lee Seo-jun calls out to our boy. Since they are now teammates, the top-tier genius naturally invites him to grab lunch together. Holding his lunch tray, our boy excitedly calls Seo-jun over to his table. Looking at the future powerhouse, he secretly rejoices at the perfect chance to buddy up. As soon as they sit down, a classmate recognizes our boy from a video. They lean in curiously, completely baffled as to how these two ended up teaming up. The classmate can't help but gossip. In everyone's eyes, the top-ranked Seo-jun could easily win first place without carrying a lower-ranked student for buff points. Seo-jun just shakes his head. Hearing the classmate reveal that the ruthless Yahello also recruited low rankers, our boy sweats. Their upcoming dungeon test is definitely going to be chaotic. Surrounded by gossiping classmates, everyone is wondering how our boy managed to get so close to the genius senior Seo-jun. But our guy completely ignores the whispers. During practical training, he gathers mana in his palm, focusing entirely on perfectly controlling the energy output. As a blinding blue light erupts from the magic circle, he perfectly executes the spell. The mocking crowd instantly drops their jaws, shocked that he's actually doing great. Hearing their dramatic reactions, our boy just lets out a helpless sigh. Back at his dorm later, he sits down to calmly rethink his stat-building strategy from his past life. Previously, he used to dump all his points straight into base stats. However, he realized that just like leveling up in games, the cost scales up ridiculously over time. So this time, he's playing the long game. Navigating the system interface, he searches for and finally locates that top-tier trait, which was only supposed to appear mid-novel. Paired with the returner's wristwatch that massively boosts his regeneration, it's a flawless combo. He even painfully sold his A-rank master chef trait to afford it all. Still, the sacrifices are totally worth it. Thanks to his calculated preparations, our boy's starting hand is miles ahead of his past life, ready to face whatever comes next. Our boy usually keeps a low profile, so the sudden buzzing of his phone took him by surprise. He pulled it out, wondering who would be messaging someone as invisible as him. It turns out he was added to the Group 3 chat. Looking at the notification, he felt a bit of a headache. Aside from Yoon-hae, the other names were completely unfamiliar to him. Even though these teammates seem average now, our boy knows better thanks to his past life. Especially Yoon-hae, she hasn't realized her true potential yet, but she's destined to be a key player. To get a feel for the team, the leader suggested everyone share their specialties. As the others chimed in, our boy followed suit, maintaining his cover by claiming to be a simple manifestation mage with no attribute. After settling on their roles, the group decided to center their strategy around the S-rank genius, Lee Seo-jun. Their goal was ambitious. They were aiming to outperform Uera's elite team. As training began, the field turned into a chaotic display of mana, with some students even getting blasted backward. Under the seniors' guidance, they started learning to focus on mana release rather than just raw control. Suddenly, a staggering burst of energy erupted, creating a massive shockwave that left everyone speechless. The sheer explosive power was a clear display of the dominance expected from a top-tier talent. Observers couldn't help but marvel at such natural talent, calling it insane. However, to a more trained eye, while the power was undeniable, the execution still seemed a bit rough around the edges. Initially thinking our boy's mana control needed work, the teacher was left wide-eyed and thoroughly impressed by his sudden, precise burst of power. She couldn't help but marvel. Pulling off perfect projection with minimal mana while knowing his own weaknesses was no small feat for his age. As the sun set, the intense training session finally ended. Hearing the teacher's dismissal, the exhausted students let out a collective sigh of relief and dispersed. Just as everyone was leaving, the teacher called our boy over. While praising his hard work, she pointedly asked about his daily mana capacity training. Realizing she had seen through his small mana pool, our boy quickly nodded. Hearing her advice that there are no shortcuts, he promised to train even harder. Then, the teacher handed him a special bracelet to aid with mana breathing. Faced with this unexpected care, our usually decisive boy hesitated to accept the gift. Seeing his hesitation, she smiled and assured him it was just a cheap F-rank practice item. Relieved, he thanked her and accepted the bracelet without further pressure. Walking back alone after class, our boy admired his new item. He couldn't help but smile, thinking that today's lesson had brought quite an unexpected harvest. Just as our boy is planning his next move, the aloof senior Uera leans against a pillar and abruptly calls him out. Unfazed by his calm comeback, she scoffs and directly accuses him of teaming up with the genius Lee Seo-jun just to get carried. She proudly declares that first place is hers this time before walking away, leaving our boy completely baffled by her unprovoked hostility. Fast forward to Thursday morning's practical class. The original protagonist Lee Seo-jun arrives right on time, and with Yoon-hae enthusiastically cheering, Squad 3 is finally assembled. But before they even head out, a problematic teammate starts mocking our guy, calling him a deadweight who couldn't even cast a single spell in the last test. Listening to them openly joke about how he plans to ride on Seojin's coattails, our boy remains completely straight-faced, silently judging their cheap trash talk. The group then follows the crowd to a dark dungeon entrance. With a loud announcement from the instructor, today's exploration mission officially begins, and new variables are about to surface. The freshmen face their first dungeon exploration. The rules are clear. The more low-ranked teammates you carry, the richer your bonus points will be. Fired up by the rewards, students rush into the portal. Meanwhile, the teachers gather in the monitoring room, keeping a close eye on every team's move. Watching the rookies, the teachers decide to place bets. Awkwardly, everyone bets on the genius girl Uera, almost ruining the gambling pool. Just then, teacher Jang smiles and flashes a hand sign. Breaking the ice, she confidently places her bet on Lee Seo-jun's Team 3. The other teacher is confused. Since Seo-jun is a close combat fighter, protecting dead weight is way harder for him than for Era's wide area magic. But Jang firmly believes in a bottom ranker uprising. Inside the dungeon, after a quick monster kill, our boy hides in the back, smiling as he plots his next scheme. As the team smoothly advances through the dungeon, they marvel at Seojun's combat skills while casually guessing what kind of weak mob the first floor boss will be. When asked, our boy casually spoils that it'll be a giant wolf. As his teammates brush it off as a joke, he silently sighs, knowing he's already cleared this in his past life. His teammates treat it as nonsense and laugh it off as they keep moving. But suddenly Seojun, leading the pack, senses something off and abruptly stops in his tracks. The confused team follows his gaze, only to find a complex, glowing blue magic circle etched into the stone floor right in front of them. Naturally, such an unknown trap puts everyone on edge. But before they can think of a plan, our guy ignores their warnings and crouches right over it, calmly stating it's nothing major. Relying on his past life memories, he instantly recognizes it as a barrier trigger. Without hesitation, he gathers his mana and punches straight into the center of the magic circle. Faced with a tricky barrier blocking their path, Lee Seojun decides to skip the formalities and draws his sword, attempting to shatter it with sheer force. A massive burst of energy fills the room, and everyone thinks they're in the clear. But as the dust settles, the barrier holds strong, leaving the genius feeling a bit helpless. Realizing brute force won't work, their support steps up. However, upon touching the magic circle, he realizes it's insanely complex and would take at least 40 minutes to decode. Every second counts in a dungeon. Unable to wait any longer, our boy ignores his teammates' bewildered shouts and kneels down to take over the magic circle himself. With his outsider system activated, the incomprehensible magical formulas instantly transform into easily readable, draggable data blocks right before Seonwoo's eyes. In just a matter of seconds, a brilliant blue light erupts. Our guy casually shatters the impenetrable barrier, leaving the entire team standing there in absolute shock. The team can't believe how smoothly things are going. Even the original protagonist, Seojun, is amazed by our boy's intel, instantly earning him 5,000 system points. Suddenly, the first floor boss, a massive black wolf, drops from above. Instead of panicking, the team is just shocked that our boy predicted this exact monster. Facing the giant wolf's fierce attack, Seojun draws his sword. Living up to his top-tier status, his blinding counterattack instantly sends the massive beast flying. The boss is taken down effortlessly, leaving the team in awe. As the heavy stone doors slowly open, Group 3 successfully clears the stage and cheers in victory. Outside, the instructor announces the results. Despite their smooth run, they only secure second place. Turns out, Era's team took first, beating their time by a whole 30 minutes. Looking at Era's monstrous clear time, the team gasps in disbelief. Seojun, however, just pats our boy's shoulder, thanking him for breaking the barrier so quickly to secure their rank. Our boy naturally stays humble, crediting Seojun's firepower. Even though they didn't get first place, the team's morale is sky high, ready to turn things around in the upcoming challenges. Hearing his name called out of nowhere, our boy turns around in confusion, only to realize it's one of the academy's support instructors. The instructor looks at him dead serious, then frantically demands that he transfer to the support department immediately. Unfazed by this sudden and baffling proposal, our guy doesn't even hesitate for a second before bluntly shutting her down. Fast forward to a few days later. To prepare for his upcoming secret operations, our boy uses system points to buy a new identity, showing up at the license office as Kim Jin-woo. Watching the staff pull out a professional iris scanner, he stays cool on the outside but is sweating inside. Luckily, the system's fake identity passes with flying colors. With this unforgeable C-rank mage license in hand, paired with his color-changing disguise glasses, his secret identity is absolutely flawless. Identity sorted, he immediately plans his next move. He intends to speedrun the Tower of Proof, then rush to the Han River to intervene in the original protagonist's deadly fight against an otherworldly assassin tonight. Stepping into the glowing blue teleportation circle, a new round of challenges and point farming is about to unfold within the tower. Stepping onto the portal, our boy confidently selects the 10th floor. The system warns of reduced rewards, but he just smiles. He's here for something else. Every tower has its own deadly mechanics. The Tower of Proof he just entered is so notoriously difficult that most top guilds actively avoid it. Right on cue, a massive three-eyed beast lunges with a roar. Not backing down, our guy leaps up and blasts it point blank with a devastating energy beam. Securing the first kill, he instantly bags 1,000 points. Looking at the complex traps and magic formulas ahead, he grins. This place is practically custom built for him. With time to spare, his mind drifts back to a recent evening. By the Han River, he practically forced a reluctant Lee Seo-jun into a selfie to make good memories. As he counts 1, 2, the flash goes off. The blinding light instantly snaps back to reality as a brilliant magic strike, blasting right into the next monster's face. After clearing the obstacles, our boy stumbles upon a pink magic crystal, happily declaring that his travel expenses are covered. Not stopping there, he traces the wall and finds a hidden golden energy thread, immediately unleashing his power to snap it. The barrier shatters, rewarding him with 2,000 points and granting him access to the hidden floor of the Tower of Proof, the inner world. Before he can take in the scenery, an ethereal voice echoes from above, demanding to know if he can prove his worth. Along with the voice, a swarm of white-winged flower fairies appears. Although they are only C-rank monsters, our boy's expression instantly turns serious. These little creatures completely lose their minds when they spot a human. Right on cue, the fairies start shrieking and dive bomb him at full speed. Facing their reckless, high-speed dive, our guy doesn't panic. He instantly sets up a defensive barrier around himself, easily absorbing the first wave of impact. But he knows that just slaughtering these fairies won't clear the floor. Faced with the challenge to prove himself, our boy is already planning his own unique way to break the rules. Our boy flawlessly activates the system and secures the tower's recognition. Seeing the massive point reward pop up, he can't help but crack a huge, satisfied smile. As fireworks light up the sky to celebrate their victory, Lee Seo-jun happily throws an arm around our boy and hands over his phone to show off their recent photo. One look at the screen, and our guy freezes in pure horror. Lurking in the background of the photo is a pale-faced man in a black hat, a deadly otherworldly assassin. Realizing the danger, he frantically checks the clock. It's almost 9:30. Lee Seo-jun is supposed to be at his designated spot by now, and this severe plot deviation has our boy sweating bullets. Meanwhile, out in the plaza, a deadly crisis is quietly unfolding. A well-meaning bystander approaches a strange figure, only for the man to turn around and reveal a horrifying, glowing red eye. Before the bystander can even react, the mutated monster strikes him down in a brutal bloodbath. Our boy might have just scored big, but this sudden massacre isn't going to give him a second to breathe. Just as things reach a breaking point, a monster shrouded in eerie energy erupts in a deafening roar. The suffocating purple pressure makes everyone realize this isn't just any enemy, it's a high-level main. The crowd is in total chaos, screaming for backup. Seeing the monster evolve further, our boy knows waiting isn't an option. He pushes up his glasses, his gaze sharpening. Forget the original plot, saving lives comes first. Meanwhile, Special Task Force Agent Jung Hyun-soo confirms the threat via intel. A monster like this at a crowded festival is a nightmare, as they grow stronger with every drop of blood they absorb, and its mana is already off the charts. Panic spreads as the monster targets a terrified girl, launching a ferocious assault. At the last possible second, our boy narrowly intercepts the attack, but the sheer destructive power tells him this fight is going to be brutal. Our boy managed to save the girl, but the monster is already back on the hunt. He quickly realizes this beast is at least B rank. Rushing in blindly would be suicide. He needs to find a single opening to survive. As the monster lunges toward the crowd, our boy stops holding back, funneling all his mana into his right fist. If brute force won't work, he'll bet everything on a single, concentrated strike to its weak point. Blue energy gathers at his knuckles, striking toward the monster's vitals with bone-shattering force. In this do-or-die moment, can our boy successfully take down this terrifying beast? The fatal strike failed to completely destroy the monster's brain. Seeing the otherworldly assassin charge at him with renewed fury, our boy grits his teeth and braces for impact. With the enemy pressing hard, he decides to stop holding back. With a cold smirk, our guy activates his trump card, massively boosting his mana recovery speed for a short window. Surging blue energy gathers in his hands. Facing the beast-like enemy, our boy goes all out, determined to beat the monster half to death even if he can't finish it quickly. Relying on his limitless magical firepower, our boy completely shuts down the monster's assault, knocking it down repeatedly. Even when it lunges again, he handles it with an effortless smile. The assassin has completely lost its mind, roaring in helpless rage. Seeing the enemy reduced to this pathetic state, our guy secretly rejoices, thinking victory is already within his grasp. But his moment of glory ends abruptly, as the energy core on his chest flickers out. His 1-minute buff is over. Seeing the terrifying enemy closing in, Our boy genuinely panics. Just when he thinks he's doomed, the unstoppable monster suddenly collapses. It seems his relentless magical bombardment managed to drain its life force just in time. Agent Jung Hyun-soo finally arrives to secure the scene. Checking our boy's C-rank license, he can't help but question the crazy battle that just took place. Hearing their names, Hyun-soo feels something is off. A memory flashes of a previous incident where a guy in glasses remained completely unfazed during a violent attack, perfectly matching the person in front of him. Trusting his sharp agent instincts, Hyun-soo hesitantly asks if they happen to know a student named Kim Se-woo. Meanwhile, the chaebol heiress Han Se-in is waiting outside her company. The man arriving is none other than her hypocritical brother, Han Se-jin, who would backstab his own family with a smile. Inside the limo, the siblings exchange pleasantries. Pretending to care about Se-in's exhaustion, Se-jin offers to ease her burden, secretly aiming to swallow her shares, which makes her clench her phone in anger. At this time, our boy is relaxing with a beer. Thanks to his alliance with Se-in, he made a fortune and conveniently leaked Se-jin's fatal weakness to her. She's probably eager to verify that intel right now. Just as he's feeling proud of his perfect master plan, his phone screen suddenly lights up with an unexpected message that leaves him completely stunned. Our boy's deal with Han Se-in continues. She readily agrees to be his errand runner for a month, and will send the upfront payment. Our boy seizes the opportunity to request potions and an admission ticket to the underground arena, which Han Se-in also accepts. The deal was temporarily settled, but our boy's mind raced. He knew that operating as Kim Je-woo would inevitably attract the main characters from the novel, especially given the threat hinted by the assassin's afterimage in the background. To counter the potential threats, he decisively opened his system, searching for and selecting a skill that detects killing intent. Though costly, our boy knew it was a necessary investment for survival and had to acquire it immediately. A few days later, Han Se-in brought the custom potions for our boy, specifically warning that the sacred herb mix amplified both their effects and side effects. Our boy took the potion, carefully checking its stats on the system interface. A massive mana recovery boost for a short period, but followed by mana exhaustion. Observing our boy's calm demeanor, Han Se-in was puzzled. She couldn't understand why a capable mage like him would need such potent potions with severe side effects, or how he even knew about these secret formulas. Next, our boy brought up Han Se-jin, Han Se-in's brother, and his weaknesses, greatly shocking her. After investigating through her own channels, she discovered her brother was involved in murder, and had connections with suspicious forces. Of course, our boy knew all this perfectly from his memories of the original novel. Although he had all the dirt on Han Se-jin, our boy faced a dilemma. How could he explain the source of all this information to Han Se-in? I read it in a novel certainly wasn't going to cut it. Facing this tricky problem, Han Se-in opportunely proposed a solution. To learn her brother's weaknesses, our boy would have to give her 5% of Hansung pharmaceutical stock. Our boy, understanding her implication, gave the perfect response. Changing the subject, our boy then asked about the arena ticket. Han Se-in confirmed she got it, but the rules stated it was non-transferable, meaning he would have to enter with her. Han Se-in seemed to grasp something instantly. Looking at our boy's attire, she gasped, "Ah, so that's why you're dressed like that today." Our boy pointed to himself and retorted, "Whose fault do you think that is?" It seems the non-transferable ticket meant they'd be working together, leaving Han Se-in both shocked and curious about our boy's true intentions. Just as their partnership deepened, Han Se-in suddenly thought of something, angrily demanding if our boy planned to gamble away all the money she'd given him. Our boy's counter-question immediately sent her blood pressure soaring. Facing the lady's furious threat to cancel their deal, our boy smoothly puts on his disguise mask, confident he'll fully win back her trust at the underground arena. They successfully infiltrate the underground arena. In the dimly lit corridor, an attendant respectfully fastens a purple VIP wristband onto his wrist. Suddenly, a man in a red demon mask walks by. Our boy immediately recognizes him as Ha Ryong, an S-rank villain and the true host of this arena. Knowing how dangerous this man is, our boy keeps a low profile. As the staff wishes them a good time, he silently warns himself to avoid tangling with this guy. Stepping into the bustling arena, the hyped atmosphere is palpable. The lady observes the crowd, concluding that everyone is here for Yang Hongju, the star champion. She calmly explains that betting on the absolute favorite won't yield much profit. To make real money here, they need a completely different strategy. Before she can even finish, our boy strides right up to the counter and casually drops a bomb, placing a staggering 530 million on the underdog. The astronomical bet instantly stuns the clerk. Even the young lady is completely shocked, frantically asking if he actually knows anything about this mysterious opponent. Meanwhile, the underground arena staff is stunned by a massive 500 million bet. This mysterious backer wearing a rabbit mask is none other than our boy in disguise. The villains quickly catch wind of our guy's movements. Desperate to avenge their fallen comrade, they flash sinister smiles and prepare for tonight's assassination. However, the villain's blatant killing intent doesn't escape our boy's notice. Using his knowledge of the original plot, he instantly identifies the vengeful group. Instead of panicking over the incoming danger, our guy calmly turns to a confused Han Xian and smoothly asks her for a special favor. Under the night sky, the tracking villains notice a change in our boy's route. They promptly pull over, ready to execute the lone target standing by the lake. Lurking in the shadows, the assassin confirms there's no backup around. Yet, looking at such an unguarded and weak-looking prey, he can't help but feel suspicious. While the assassin hesitates, our boy casually tosses his awful snack and glares into the darkness, directly calling out the enemy to kick off this deadly game. Facing the shadowy tail, our boy didn't hide his aura. The red-haired villain showed up with a compliment, but immediately turned hostile, hurling 3 flaming spears with a deathly roar. Unfazed by the deadly flames, our boy instantly gathered a blinding blue energy sphere. He unleashed a furious shockwave, causing the 2 immense powers to clash violently in midair. As the smoke cleared, the villain was left wide-eyed in shock. Meanwhile, our boy just smirked, casually mentioning he could fire off 2 more shots like that. Going back a few minutes, our boy and his ally were driving through the rainy night. The persistent, dangerous presence tailing them made even the usually calm Xian break a sweat. Instead of running, our boy boldly asked Xian to drive somewhere secluded so he could turn the tables. Though she was deeply worried, he already had a perfect plan. His mana far exceeds B rank. Despite her warning, our guy remained fully confident. With a sudden break, he reassured her and leaped out to face the threat alone. For our guy, fighting above his weight class was nothing. After all, before hiding his true strength, he was fully built as an enhancement type, never fearing a physical brawl. Back in the present, the villain sneered, thinking our boy was only dodging. He gathered his flames once more, ready to use his trump card. The real battle was just beginning. Faced with a barrage of flaming spears, our boy is forced to fall back. The villain's sudden burst of speed definitely catches him off guard. Narrowly dodging the strike, our boy knows his buff is running out. He decisively activates a new skill, causing his mana recovery to instantly skyrocket. Feeling the terrifying blue aura, the villain freezes in shock, while our boy seizes the moment to dash forward with incredible speed. Realizing the danger, the villain grits his teeth and channels stronger flames for a counterattack. Meanwhile, our boy lowers his stance, preparing to take the hit head-on. Just as the enemy brings down his flaming spear, our boy counters with a fully charged energy ball, triggering a massive explosion upon impact. The fierce blast sends the villain flying, but he refuses to give up and roars back into the fight. Our guy knows he can't give him a single opening. Seeing the enemy struggling and wide open, our boy calmly looks for a fatal strike, only to realize the current angle makes it impossible to aim for the head. Since a ranged headshot isn't an option, our boy simply closes in and pins the villain to the ground. Ignoring the enemy's desperate pleas, his cold gaze makes it clear that this fight is finally over. Taking advantage of the fallen assassin, our boy quickly activates a system skill, triggering a massive buff that temporarily boosts his mana recovery. But the villain won't go down that easily. Driven to a corner, he burns his remaining life force and summons a flaming spear for a desperate final strike. Right in the nick of time, a powerful figure dashes in like lightning, instantly interrupting the villain's attack. Seeing his backup finally arrive, our boy breathes a sigh of relief. The newcomer is none other than Jang Sugi, an S-rank mage of the Hansung family. With this heavyweight taking control, the deadly crisis is finally averted. Meanwhile at the academy, Haeyoung is undergoing brutally strict training. However, the bloody scene is so intense that a passing junior mistakes it for severe school bullying. The concerned student hurries to report this to Teacher Lee. To her surprise, the teacher simply smiles, explaining that it's normal attribute adaptation training and she's been watching them all along. What Teacher Lee truly admires is our boy. His sharp judgment in identifying his friend's bottleneck and designing the perfect training regimen is simply remarkable. Although he's currently dead last, Teacher Lee sees his hidden potential. However, a result-driven teacher scoffs at this, believing that playing the nice guy won't make him stronger after all, only results matter in this world. In the office, the teachers are already plotting to test our boy's true skills during the upcoming midterm exams. Meanwhile, our boy is drooling over a subspace pocket on a limited-time half-price sale in the system shop. It's an incredibly rare piece of tactical gear. But looking at his pitiful point balance, he completely loses his mind. Desperate for the gear, he vows to scrape together over 10,000 points in just 5 days. Just when he's wondering how to farm points, his teacher calls him to the office and offers him a special spot in the elite advanced class. He secretly rejoices at the chance to get closer to Lee Seo-jun, but a blonde delinquent nearby throws a fit, refusing to be grouped with a dead last student. The blonde guy even tries to drag the cold senior Era into the argument, only to be instantly shut down by her icy and dismissive reply. Watching the drama, the teacher asks for our guy's thoughts. Without backing down, he boldly declares that he'll simply raise his rank to prove them wrong. Satisfied with his attitude, the teacher sets a firm challenge. All he has to do is secure a spot in the top 80 in the midterm exams. The second-year midterms have finally arrived. Our boy and his partner, Yoon Haeung, are quietly plotting their strategy before stepping into the arena. The exam requires teams to fight summon green giants. Finding and shattering the hidden purple crystals guarantees an instant kill, but it's no easy feat. Of course, geniuses are the exception. Lee Seo-jun and Era team up, unleashing a flawless combo that instantly crushes the monsters into dust. Amid the roaring cheers from the crowd, it's finally our boy's turn. Wearing his specially modified boots, he gives Haeung a nod. They're aiming straight for the top. Haeung goes all out, blasting a powerful path of ice to clear the way. Riding the momentum of her magic, our boy launches himself forward like an arrow. The spectators are just waiting for him to embarrass himself again. But that's exactly what he wants. Their low expectations are fueling his system points. Facing 2 roaring green giants in the arena, our boy's eyes turn cold as he secretly activates his outsider system perks. With a thunderous stomp, an astonishing surge of mana erupts around him. Now that he's farmed enough points, he has absolutely zero intention of playing the clown. As the massive giant lunges down with a crushing blow, our boy doesn't flinch. Instead, he stands his ground calmly, rapidly forming a deadly sphere of blue magic. Seeing the beast full of openings, he confidently points forward. It looks like this highly anticipated exam is going to wrap up much faster than anyone thought. Things take a sudden turn as our boy spots something alarming. Without missing a beat, he unleashes a powerful surge of blue magic, ready to face whatever is coming. A terrifying green giant appears, sending everyone into a panic. Our boy realizes the gravity of the situation. The ringleader wasn't supposed to show up this early. A massive explosion rocks the area, leaving everyone in a daze. Amidst the smoke and fire, a frantic warning echoes. They are under a full-scale infiltration. As the monster lunges, it's met with a barrage of blue energy blades. Our boy's precision is terrifying, shredding through the creature's defenses in an instant. While his teammates regroup, our boy steps up and tells everyone to move. With one decisive strike of his glowing blade, he sends the giant monster flying back. The entire fight is being broadcast live, leaving the student body in absolute shock. Nobody expected to see such high-level combat during a school exam. As the dust settles, the arena erupts in cheers. His teammate grabs him in a celebratory hug, ecstatic that they actually pulled off such a feat. Collecting his rewards, our boy notices something odd. The timeline has completely shifted from the original story, and he's ready to see where this new path leads. Looking at the system alerts, our boy breaks into a cold sweat. Thanks to his constant meddling, the timeline has completely derailed from the original novel. Seeing him sweat profusely, his teammates quickly ask if he's okay. To hide his panic, he makes an excuse about being tired and sends them ahead to the training room. After dealing with some enthusiastic praises, our boy smoothly brushes the girls off to get some rest, eager to avoid spilling any more of his secrets. With them gone, he begins to calculate just how far the plot has strayed. But as he looks up, he catches sight of an absolutely chaotic scene. The original protagonist, Lee Seo-jun, is currently swarmed by eager guild scouts. Despite Seo-jun politely declining due to his age, the crowd shows no signs of backing down. The scouts crazily push their business cards onto him, claiming they even skipped scouting the seniors just for him. Our boy can only watch this fanatical crowd in amusement. Just as he's enjoying the show, someone calls his name. Teacher Jang wants to discuss his grades, loudly reminding everyone of his dead last status. Looks like trouble found him again. The exams just ended, and guild scouts are already swarming. Desperate to escape the recruiters, the top student makes up a quick excuse and completely bolts, leaving the scouts eating his dust. Up in the stands, the Special Task Force leader praises the genius Lee Seo-jun. However, the strict Jung Hyun-soo shakes his head, arguing that while talented, Seo-jun severely lacks real-life and death combat experience. As they chat, the leader suddenly changes the subject to our boy. For someone supposedly dead last in his class, his impressive combat skills have successfully caught the government's attention. Hearing that Seo-jun compared Seonwook to a mysterious top-tier mage, the veterans find it absurd. Yet, seeing a student perfectly execute high-level magic makes the leader decide to keep a close eye on him. Little does he know, our boy is already on their radar. Hiding in a quiet corner, he tells his friend he just wants to avoid the scouts. After all, staying low-key is his master plan for now. Outside the exam hall, our boy and Seo-jun are observing quietly. Knowing an attack is imminent, he plans to keep Seo-jun here to protect everyone while he hunts down the insider. Seo-jun mistakenly thinks he's just curious about the guild scouts. Our boy plays along, secretly relieved that the original timeline hasn't been completely derailed. Meanwhile, the villains are lurking in the shadows. Once the scouts enter the hall, they confidently review the final preparations for their master plan. It turns out they've already planted monster summoning circles all over the school. With a sinister purple glow, the ruthless hunt for the Child of Prophecy officially begins. Back at the arena, an intense sparring match concludes. The high-level magic techniques leave Seo-jun completely hyped up and cheering in excitement. However, our boy isn't enjoying the show. He's been scanning the crowd for the insider but finds nothing. Caught off guard by this twist, he awkwardly laughs it off to avoid suspicion. Right in the middle of a fierce sparring match, Seo-jun is suddenly caught off guard. A bizarre purple energy shockwave sweeps through the area without warning, freezing everyone in their tracks. Seeing this unfamiliar sight, our boy breaks into a cold sweat. As a regressor, he thought he knew everything, but this catastrophic event never happened in his past life. Before anyone can process what's happening, a massive purple barrier seals off the campus. The source? A tampered suitcase that suddenly triggers a giant dimensional vortex right in the courtyard. As emergency broadcasts echo, countless massive monsters pour out of the portal. The mastermind smiles in the shadows, knowing the teachers are trapped outside, leaving the students completely defenseless. However, the villain's perfect plan shatters in an instant. With a few swift, brutal strikes, the monsters are slaughtered. The Special Task Force has unexpectedly dropped in, completely flipping the script. Watching everyone trapped and fighting bitterly inside, the rescue team outside is anxious, desperately hoping for the barrier to be dispelled soon. However, the leading teacher states that without another A-rank support mage, it'll take at least 30 minutes. Knowing the plot, our boy realizes how deadly this top-tier barrier truly is. Just then, a purple-haired woman steps up to volunteer. Our boy instantly recognizes her as a villainous spy, but decides to play along for now, so he doesn't tip them off. Seeing them cast magic together, others think they're finally saved. But our boy's eyes grow cold as he stops his companion and points out the harsh truth. The spy is only pretending to help while secretly reinforcing the barrier. At the exact same time, the teacher also realizes something is horribly wrong. Realizing their scheme is exposed, the true mastermind lurking in the shadows commands the enraged monsters to launch an even fiercer attack. The real crisis has just begun. At the front lines, it's a bitter struggle as monsters swarm in. Civilians brace for the worst until the Special Task Force drops in like heroes, obliterating the beasts in a flash. While fending off the remaining monsters, the task force calms the terrified crowd, vowing to hold the line. To everyone there, it seems their mages are steadily breaking the barrier. But our boy already saw through the lie. Sneaking to the back with Seo-jun, he drops a bombshell. The mage at the front is actually a disguised assassin, reinforcing the barrier instead of breaking it. Hearing this, righteous Seo-jun wants to expose him immediately, but our guy stops him. With no proof, our boy proposes a calculated plan. He will break the barrier secretly, leaving Seo-jun to take the stand. After all, people will listen to a globally recognized genius over a random student. Convinced, Seo-jun acts as the bodyguard, while our boy confidently places his hands down to decode the complex magical formula. Staring at the glowing runes, a confident smirk appears on his face. As he channels his magic, this deadly crisis is finally about to see a massive turning point. With the immediate crisis handled, our boy gets ready to move. Seo-jun stops him, wondering why he hides his true contributions, but our guy just leaves him with a mysterious smile. Meanwhile, the external barrier sealing the academy is finally shattered. The deeply frustrated teachers storm the battlefield, ready to take over the fight. The professionals finally step in. With a spectacular display of lightning magic, the teachers instantly wipe out the remaining green monsters, clearing the entire plaza. Just as they discuss tracking down the mastermind, the red-haired teacher suddenly loses her cool. She violently accuses the woman who just helped them of being an otherworldly assassin. Everyone thinks she has lost her mind. Instead of panicking, the accused woman smugly mocks her for being too weak. This bold counterattack makes the situation even more twisted. As the barrier quietly locked itself again, Lee Seo-jun sensed something was off. To cover for a certain someone, he immediately told everyone to keep the situation a strict secret. Meanwhile, outside enemy forces noticed the barrier's fluctuations. Realizing their plan was falling apart, the leader immediately ordered their subordinates to investigate. Before they could figure it out, a powerful A-rank assassin leader suddenly descended. With a single murderous command, a brutal free-for-all erupted across the campus. Faced with these highly trained and lethal killers, the students had no choice but to fight tooth and nail, with magic and blades clashing wildly across the grounds. Just as things were about to spiral out of control, Seo-jun finally showed his true protagonist energy. With one clean strike, he pierced the berserk assassin, coldly warning them they picked the wrong place to mess with. Having lost their leader, the villains quickly crumbled. The arriving special forces and academy mages wasted no time, using heavy magic to completely suppress the remaining enemies. After the battle, the special forces captain praised Seo-jun's outstanding performance, acknowledging his strength and reminding him to collect a hefty bounty for slaying the assassin. Seo-jun smiled and played along, but deep down he knew the truth. The one who truly turned the tide and carried the fight from the shadows was none other than our boy. A deafening explosion shatters the peace. Era and Haeyoung, who were just having a normal training session, suddenly find themselves surrounded by terrifying monsters. Before they can regroup, an otherworldly assassin slowly emerges from the shadows. Watching their struggle, he sneers, mocking the genius senior for being dragged down by dead weight. Knowing the enemy is too strong, Era unleashes a burst of flames to forcefully push Haeyoung away, intending to take him on alone. However, her proudest attacks are easily brushed off. With ghost-like speed, the assassin grabs Era by the throat. Sensing her high-quality mana, he grins greedily before violently tossing her aside like a ragdoll. Seeing her senior in deadly peril, Haeyoung overcomes her terror and raises a shield, stepping right in front of the villain. Sadly, her desperate courage only earns a ruthless mock from the monster. Just as the villain prepares a lethal strike, the tables turn. A brutal force blasts the assassin away. To his absolute horror, his supreme regeneration abilities completely fail against this new power. Everyone freezes as a mysterious magic circle emerges on the ground. This terrifying and unconventional mana proves our boy is finally done hiding. The real show is just getting started. The otherworldly assassin finally corners the child of prophecy. Smirking cruelly, he gathers deadly purple energy, ready to eliminate the threat once and for all. Just in the nick of time, our boy steps in. He effortlessly deflects the attack with a high-tier spell, leaving the arrogant assassin completely stunned. Facing the assassin's desperate counterattack, our guy doesn't hold back. The villain watches in horror as his proud spell shield shatters, like glass, under the overwhelming magic. Blasted into the ground by the raging blue energy, the assassin is baffled. He simply can't comprehend how a mere student possesses such terrifying mana. "I've got way more combat experience than I look," our boy states coldly. Cornered, the dying villain desperately tries to take his target down with him. But our guy isn't about to give him a second chance. Before the assassin can even reach his target, a blinding beam pierces through him, ending the crisis instantly. As the villain crumbles to dust, the system rewards our boy with massive points. But he knows this is just the beginning. These fanatics will definitely strike the school again. Following the brutal battle, the news praises Lee Seo-jun and Era as the heroes who defeated the monster, putting them in the spotlight. In the hospital room, Era scoffs at the news. She feels like a fraud being treated as a hero when she did nothing. Overhearing this, Haeyoung is totally shocked. Haeyoung insists Era protected her. But Era admits she passed out early on, and it was actually Haeyoung who bravely stood her ground against the beast. Haeyoung smiles sheepishly, explaining that someone once reached out to her when she was helpless. That memory gave her the courage to stay and fight, hoping to be that light for someone else. Those words strike a nerve. Tragic childhood memories of her parents perishing in a fire flood Era's mind, reminding her of a time when her cries for help went unanswered. Hardened by her past, Era coldly states she doesn't need anyone's help. Haeyoung argues that without Kim Se-eun's rescue, they'd both be dead, a revelation that completely stuns Era. Right on cue, our boy casually steps into the room to check on them. He even hands a bewildered Era a 5 million won check, claiming it's her cut of the monster bounty. In the hospital room, Era points out that our boy killed the assassin. Playing dumb as usual, he claims he merely delivered the finishing blow thanks to their firepower. He generously offers to split the bounty, but the proud senior refuses to take the money. Instead, she blushes and sincerely thanks him for saving her. Watching her leave, our guy wonders if he rushed things. But the system suddenly pings that Sundara Sr. has taken an interest in him, rewarding him with 2,000 points. With this unexpected bonus, he finally has enough points for the half-price subspace pocket. He tries to play it cool, but a smug smile creeps onto his face. Meanwhile, Era isn't buying his nonsense at all. Analyzing the battle, she realizes the monster wasn't even weakened, meaning our boy single-handedly destroyed it. Her imagination runs wild. Why would someone so powerful hide his true strength? She concludes he must share a tragic past of losing his family to the villains. Back in the room, Haeyoung has completely fallen for his cover story. She promises to keep his power a secret and gets fired up to train in hiding. Seeing her enthusiasm, our boy feels pretty proud. Thanks to his meddling, this promising student has awakened her true potential a whole month earlier than the original story. In the hospital room, our boy is plotting a training regime to turn Haeyoung into a core ally. Suddenly, she tugs at his sleeve. Blushing, Haeyoung expresses her gratitude, noting how he always protected her during exams and enemy attacks. Her shy demeanor immediately catches our boy off guard. "Don't tell me, you like me?" His blunt question makes Haeyoung wave her hands frantically, quickly denying that she has any such feelings. Relieved, our guy clarifies that he only helped her because he believes in her potential, nothing more. He even teases her for imagining some romantic plot. Embarrassed, Haeyoung laughs it off loudly to hide her fluster, while our boy silently finalizes his plan. No matter what, he needs this crucial chess piece in her rightful place. Then, Haeyoung hands over a card with 7.5 million won as tuition, officially calling him teacher. Motivated by the cash, our boy eagerly vows to give her some hellish training. However, just as he is about to announce tomorrow's training schedule, a sudden message on his phone completely freezes his smile, leaving Haeyoung utterly confused. Watching people fall over themselves to send him money, our boy stays perfectly calm. This is just the tip of the iceberg for his master plan. Right after the midterms, our boy, bearing the rank 72 title, finally steps into the special talent class, a place he couldn't even reach in his past life. Looking around the spacious classroom, it's packed with absolute monsters. The top geniuses from every year have all gathered here. Facing the curious gazes, our guy keeps a straight face, but is secretly thrilled. Infiltrating this class makes getting involved in future key events so much easier. But peace never lasts long. The arrogant Inhwan immediately wraps an arm around our boy, mocking the low ranker for daring to show his face here. Someone tries to stop the sudden argument, but the arrogant Inhwan isn't having it, loudly complaining that our boy is dragging down the class's average. Unexpectedly, the usually cold Era speaks up. She mercilessly points out that our boy's actual skills are above Inhwan's, telling him to sit down and shut up. Hearing Era defend our boy, the deeply jealous Inhwan instantly loses his mind. Glaring viciously, he readies himself to resort to brute force. However, the moment he attacks, his face turns pale. Our guy counters with a crushing grip, making Inhwan contort in agony, completely unable to break free. Enraged, Inhwan desperately throws a punch, but our boy cleanly delivers a brutal kick, sending the punk flying down the stairs. Finally, some peace and quiet. With the troublemaker knocked out, Task Force Agent Jung Hyun-soo steps in and praises the students. Our boy realizes everything is unfolding exactly like the original plot. Recently, an unusual coordinated attack by otherworldly assassins made higher-up suspect an insider. Thus, a very reluctant Hyun-soo was ordered to investigate the academy. Back in the classroom, Hyun-soo formally introduces himself in a suit. Under the guise of field training, he assigns the students a mission in a secret dungeon. The training is actually a cover to weed out the insider. But our boy knows the truth: the cunning spy will definitely lay low for now. The real priority is secretly helping the main squad secure the S-rank item from the hidden stage. Our boy is determined to keep the original storyline perfectly on track. The team assignments are finally announced, and to everyone's surprise, the first-year genius Choi Seo-yoon is paired up with our supposedly average boy. Seeing our boy looking completely unenthusiastic, the usually adored Seo-yoon is genuinely puzzled. Meanwhile, the surrounding guys absolutely lose their minds in jealousy. Ignoring the death glares, our boy decisively suggests they move out. When the guys keep whining, he tries to deflect the heat by pointing out Uera nearby. As they walk into the forest, a system alert pops up. Our boy's indifferent attitude actually piques Seo-yoon's curiosity, netting him an easy 500 points. Feeling her intense gaze, our boy quickly points ahead to change the subject. But Seo-yoon just gives a meaningful smile, hinting she won't play along with his plans. Choi Seo-yoon playfully questions our boy, but they are both hiding their own agendas. While she schemes to recruit the genius to boost her value, Seo-yoon plans to use her as bait. As they walk, Seo-yoon warns him that forcing his way into the special class might draw too much attention and create unnecessary enemies in the shadows. Everyone thinks Seo-yoon was born with everything, but beneath that perfect surface lies a lonely girl desperately trying to meet her family's crushing expectations. Be kind to everyone, but only keep those who raise your value close. That's the harsh survival strategy she had to master to survive in high society. When she warns him about jealous students plotting against him, our boy simply brushes it off with a smile, declaring he has a life goal he absolutely must achieve. The phrase life goal hits Seo-yoon hard. Ever since she was a child, her controlling father has dictated her entire existence, leaving her with no life of her own. Fascinated by his determination, she asks what he really plans to accomplish. But before our boy can answer, a terrifying killing intent suddenly locks onto him from the dark. Danger struck out of nowhere during the forest training. Our boy quickly pulled his classmate away from the sudden ambush. To everyone's shock, the attacker was none other than their classmate, Park In-hwan. When questioned, he showed no remorse at all. Instead, he arrogantly gathered violent magic energy and launched a deadly strike right at the group from midair. But this was no ordinary student brawl. A creepy giant purple eye seemed to be quietly twisting In-hwan's mind, a subtle anomaly that didn't escape Captain Young Hyun's sharp gaze. Meanwhile, the task force operatives remotely monitoring the exam were watching the chaos unfold. Seeing such unnatural destructive power, they began to suspect a spy was hidden among the students. Back on the battlefield, no matter how hard they tried to reason with him, In-hwan was completely consumed by jealousy. Roaring in fury, he unleashed a violent storm of red energy, blasting everyone away. This uncontrolled power was absolutely terrifying. The resulting energy storm traveled through the magic trace and shattered the monitoring circle, causing a severe backlash that sent the operative collapsing in pain. With the situation spiraling out of control, Hyunsu grabbed his spear and rushed into the battlefield to protect the students. Little did they know, this chaos was just the tip of a massive conspiracy. Park In-hwan completely loses it. Exploding with furious energy, he screams that our boy should have stayed a pathetic clown instead of daring to challenge him. The overwhelming attack pushes the team to their limits. Just as a junior is about to get hit, our boy steps up and deploys a massive shield to block the impact. Looking at the raging enemy, our guy's eyes turn ice cold. In his past life, he just stood by and watched these misdeeds, thinking a background character shouldn't interfere with the plot. But not in this life. Facing In-hwan's ultimate magic, our boy counters with an even stronger blast, effortlessly crushing the villain's proudest attack with just one hand. The massive power gap leaves In-hwan collapsed on the ground. Our guy towers over him, casually summoning deadly magic orbs, coldly demanding a reason to spare his life. Heeding his teammates' advice, our boy holds back the fatal strike. He grabs In-hwan's head, warning him to disappear forever. Unbelievably, the foolish villain still tries to bargain and secure a secret. Forced into a corner, the arrogant Park In-hwan frantically flees the scene. Watching him run, our boy finally catches his breath, a sly smile appearing on his face as the real trap springs. Everything is going exactly according to his plan. By creating chaos in disguise, he successfully redirects the task force's attention onto the fleeing In-hwan, turning him into the perfect scapegoat. Poor In-hwan has no idea what hit him. He barely escapes, only to be fiercely hunted down by a furious task force member, taking the full brunt of our boy's clever setup. Meanwhile, our boy quietly regroups with Choi Seo-yoon. The silver-haired genius playfully points out how impressive he looked taking down a top-ranked senior, admitting she needs to reassess his skills. He modestly plays it off, claiming he only won through momentum. Just then, a system notification pops up showing Seoyun's interest level has increased, catching him completely off guard. Sitting together in the quiet forest, Seoyun opens up. She admits she used to think he was just a weak attention seeker, but seeing his true capabilities tonight has completely changed her perspective. When he asks what she thinks of him now, Seoyun playfully calls him an interesting person. It seems his calculated disguise hasn't been exposed, but rather successfully piqued the genius girl's profound curiosity. As the team navigates the treacherous dungeon, a giant green snake suddenly ambushes them, forcing the genius Lee Seo-jun to immediately ready his light magic. With a blinding flash, Lee Seo-jun unleashes a devastating blast that obliterates the monster and perfectly shields his teammate, proving his formidable S-rank power. Impressed by his overwhelming performance, the senior immediately offers him a lucrative family sponsorship, while our boy secretly smirks, knowing everything is going exactly to plan. Playing the perfect innocent guide to hurt his free top-tier muscle, our boy eagerly points toward a mysteriously glowing cave, successfully baiting everyone's curiosity. As they step inside, they realize they've stumbled upon a rare hidden stage. With unimaginable rewards locked behind extreme danger, their true challenge is just beginning. According to the original plot, Choi Seo-yun was supposed to grow mentally here and become Lee Seo-jun's ally. Therefore, our boy planned to play it safe and report it first. However, before anyone could react, Choi Seo-yun suddenly collapsed. When she looked up again, her eyes glowed with an eerie red light, as if completely possessed by a mysterious force. Immediately after, transforming into the ghost witch, she unleashed a terrifying shockwave that sent everyone flying. This sudden deviation from the original plot caught our boy completely off guard. Watching Choi Seo-yun disappear into the massive energy vortex, their expressions darkened. Knowing there was no time to wait for rescue, they had to step up and save her themselves. Exchanging a tacit glance, the two decisively drew their weapons. Left with no other choice, they charged into the rift to force their junior back to safety. Meanwhile, on the other side of the academy, Commander Jung pinned down the fleeing Park In-won. Facing a severe interrogation, the arrogant blonde cried foul, but refused to reveal the truth. But Commander Jung wasn't playing games. Since leniency failed, he officially arrested the fool for conspiring with the assassins. It seems the true threat lurking in the shadows is finally surfacing. The situation escalates as the suspect is apprehended. But before the officer can even catch his breath, a shocking update crackles through his earpiece. What was supposed to be a deactivated cave for training has suddenly become a death trap. 3 students have wandered inside just as a rare hidden stage unexpectedly activated. Inside the dungeon, the battle reaches its peak. Sensing our boy's tactical play, Lee Seo-jun flashes a confident grin and decides to stop holding back, unleashing his true power. A terrifying burst of light mana erupts, sending a massive shockwave through the cavern. The sheer intensity of this holy power forces the hidden entity to realize it's in grave danger. Under the overwhelming pressure, the entity is finally forced to abandon Choi Seo-yun's body. Though exhausted, Seo-jun keeps his eyes locked on the retreating aura. Outside, chaos reigns as the support team scrambles to analyze the portal. But progress is agonizingly slow, and every passing second puts the students further at risk. The commander is left reeling as the reports come in. A B-rank dungeon with a hidden stage is far beyond what freshmen can handle. The true trial has only just begun. Meanwhile, the villains were planning to wait them out. But before they could relax, a massive golden beam shattered their array, making it clear that the situation was out of control. Although they defeated the boss, a normal sword couldn't handle Seo-jun's massive mana and shattered. Seeing this, our boy generously offered him a new weapon as a well-deserved reward. When Seo-jun hesitated, our boy just smiled and claimed the rest of the loot. Holding the radiant S-rank sword, Seo-jun was utterly amazed by our guy's incredible generosity. With the loot divided, the system smoothly tallied the rewards. Our boy packed up his haul and pulled out an A-rank elixir to heal the unconscious Choi Seo-yun. He crushed the elixir, sending pure energy into Seo-yun's body. Waking up to 2 guys staring intensely at her, the young lady jumped up and let out a startled scream. Seeing her so energetic, our boy and Seo-jun exchanged an amused smile. Still panicked, Seo-yun asked what happened. Hearing they were in a hidden stage left the proud genius completely stunned. To hide his true strength, our guy smoothly pinned the boss kill on Seo-jun. Just as the exit portal opened, he suddenly stopped them. Clearly, they needed to get their stories straight first. To avoid the spotlight, our boy timed his potion's duration perfectly. He collapsed right on cue, hiding his true strength while smoothly letting Seo-jun take over, waking up Seo-yoon. As far as he's concerned, he's just an extra. Once the dust settles, the real glory and public attention should rightfully belong to these two promising main characters. Everything went exactly to plan. As the youngest genius to ever clear a hidden stage, Seo-jun brought back a top-tier S-rank sword and instantly dominated the global headlines. As for that annoying blonde bully, he might have escaped the traitor allegations, but his dark history of bullying was exposed, landing him some well-deserved disciplinary action. With that obstacle finally out of the way, our guy couldn't be more relieved. It saves him a ton of trouble, and more importantly, the original storyline is safely back on track. But his relief didn't last long. A blushing Seo-yoon unexpectedly showed up to thank him in person, which completely threw our boy off guard. Panicking, our guy desperately tried to shove all the credit for defeating the witch onto Seo-jun. But looking at her deeply fascinated expression, things are definitely spiraling out of control. With a flawless performance, our boy effortlessly charms the senior, smoothly racking up a fresh batch of system points in the process. Inspired by his teammates' intense training, our boy uses the massive points he earned from the hidden stage to purchase a brand new passive trait. The evolution and adaptation trait might not grant instant power, but it perfectly boosts his basic stats through extreme environmental conditioning. Armed with his new skill, our boy steps into the gym in high spirits, effortlessly brushing off his classmates' surprised and playful teasing. Noticing Yahello sprinting on the treadmill like there's no tomorrow, he can't help but smile, pleased that his actions have fueled her competitive drive. Mid-conversation, our observant guy quickly notices something unusual. Teacher Jang, who practically lives in the training room, is noticeably absent today. Hearing rumors about a blood-drained body found near the school, he realizes the otherworldly assassins lurking in the shadows are finally making their move. Preparing for the inevitable attack by the infiltrators, Seo-jun trains relentlessly at the gym. A top-ranked senior steps up to hand him a towel, playing the perfect, caring upperclassman. But when night falls, her sweet facade shatters. Revealing her bloodthirsty fangs, she effortlessly wipes out a victim. It turns out she's actually a B-rank monster hiding within the academy. Just then, a terrifying executive from their faction emerges. Frustrated by her inability to exact revenge, the disguised assassin vents her anger. With her patience wearing thin, a deadly storm is clearly brewing. Meanwhile, the dark forces are quietly gathering. Driven by her intense thirst for revenge, the purple-haired spy Jang Yi officially earns the villain's approval and joins their assassination plot. Cut to a hidden dungeon, where our boy is secretly training Yoon Haeyoung. Watching her easily blast away a horde of demons, he's thoroughly impressed by her rapid progress. This unrecorded area, known only from his past life's knowledge, is crawling with demon-type monsters. For our boy, it's the absolute perfect environment to push Haeyoung's willpower to the limit. When asked about her drive, Haeyoung excitedly admits she just really wants to join the special class with him. Seeing her fiery determination, our guy readily agrees to keep training her on weekends. Hearing his promise, the innocent Haeyoung blushes, secretly treating their training sessions as dates. Meanwhile, our calculating boy is just running the numbers, completely certain she'll make the cut. With his apprentice's training on track, our boy wastes no time shifting his focus to the next major threat. He needs to deal with Jang Yi, the spy lurking in the academy. Deciding to seize the initiative, our guy corners her in the corridor. Maintaining her flawless disguise, she greets him with a polite smile while subtly trying to gauge his true intentions. Assuming her cover is blown, Jang Yi secretly charges a deadly spell behind her back. But our guy remains perfectly calm, preparing an unexpected move to completely derail her assassination plans. To test the undercover spy senior, our boy throws caution to the wind and launches a bold confession attack, completely throwing her off balance. Her eyes are filled with pure disgust as she ruthlessly rejects him on the spot. But our guy is secretly thrilled, as the system happily rewards him with points for the rejection. As the senior storms off, secretly contemplating whether she should just kill him, our boy playfully touches his face, pretending to be deeply hurt by her reaction. Just then, a teary-eyed classmate pops out from behind a pillar. Shin Young-jun witnessed the whole heartbreak and offers his deepest sympathies, earning our guy even more points. Seeing a perfect opportunity, our boy immediately pivots. He offers his top-tier theory notes, easily baiting the physically strong but academically struggling student into a deal. The only condition? Young-jun has to spread the story of the rejection all over the school message boards. Soon enough, the entire cafeteria is buzzing with gossip. Everyone mocks him as a desperate attention seeker. But little do they know, all this viral gossip is secretly converting into a massive payout of system points, paving the way for our boy's next move. The school forum suddenly blows up with an arrogant post claiming the senior beauty belongs to our boy. This wild confession leaves everyone totally speechless. Students are gossiping endlessly. While some are shocked by his boldness, others logically assume it's a malicious prank, as no one would willingly post such social suicide. Meanwhile, in the cafeteria, our boy is listening to his helper's report. Sweating nervously, the guy explains he only followed orders to spread the word, but the hype completely backfired. Another helper is actually quite proud, claiming the news spread instantly thanks to the school's gossip king. Seeing the perfect public uproar, our guy smiles and thanks them. This confession attack feels like mental torture to the spy, who imagines crushing him. But our boy just winks playfully, knowing his slacker disguise means he has absolutely no image to lose. Disgusted by the stunt, the other girls quickly pull the senior away. Originally planning to assassinate Seo Jun, the spy's mission is now completely derailed by this absurd scandal. Waving goodbye with a smile, our guy drops the playful act. Pulling out a mysterious book, he realizes he must stall her for now, because something far more critical is about to hit Seo Jun. Meanwhile, far away in the American Artifacts Museum, the closing announcement echoes. Several mysterious men in suits stand before glowing magic circles, quietly setting a brand new conspiracy in motion. Meanwhile, deep inside a heavily guarded museum, security is on high alert. Their top priority? Protecting a dangerous holy relic known as the Soul Container. However, they have no idea that their impenetrable defenses have already been breached. A mysterious gray-haired woman casually strolls right up to the core exhibit. Ignoring the strict warnings from the museum director, she simply marvels at the relic's beauty. To her, locking away something so magnificent is a complete waste. The director insists it must be guarded by qualified personnel, which only angers her. She bluntly accuses the Magic Association of using public good as a fake excuse to monopolize its power. Realizing the danger, the director immediately calls for security, but it's too late. His proud A-rank mages have already been easily crushed by these terrifying intruders. With the defense system rendered useless, the rest of her crew joins the attack. Looking at the mess, they even casually complain about the boss changing their non-lethal heist plan. Paralyzed by fear, the director finally realizes who they are right before the lethal strike. As the terrifying name Jayan drops, the entire facility shakes from a massive explosion, signaling a storm is coming. A sudden alert breaks the peace in the cafeteria as news of a terrorist attack on the American Artifacts Museum pops up. Reading the headline, Era's face instantly turns pale. Excusing herself with a sudden wave of nausea, Era quickly leaves the table. Watching her go, our boy knows exactly what's coming. The first clash with the main villain group, Jayan, is about to begin. While the news broadcasts the terrifying return of the terrorist group Jayan after 13 years, the culprits themselves are chilling at their hideout. The glasses-wearing tactician is just complaining about the hassle of covering their tracks. The whole attack happened simply because the poor curator insulted that person, and Natasha didn't hesitate to make him pay with his life. But the musclehead Ska is actually disappointed, complaining that the assassination was way too quiet. Ska fiercely argues that in the old days, they would have leveled the entire block. Natasha quickly shuts him down, reminding the hothead that the official task force is still hunting them down. Right when things are about to get heated, the boss steps in. He admits the recent job was a bit hasty, and suggests they lay low in a quiet place for a while. The mere mention of taking a break in Korea gets the battle-hungry crew hyped up for a fight. Despite some concerns about running into strong local experts, the boss just smiles. After all, the darkest place is always under the candlestick. Meanwhile, in the shadows, Bert and his lieutenants from the terrorist group Jayan are plotting their next move, planning to actively seek out the prophesied child. To prepare for the upcoming crisis, our boy once again assumes his alias and visits a private mansion to upgrade his gear before facing Jayan. He is greeted by the wealthy heiress Han Xian. She not only provides the promised top-tier potion, but also surprises him with a pair of high-durability combat boots. Checking the dazzling dual-option stats, our boy is secretly amazed. After all, equipment of this caliber costs several times more than standard items on the market. Business aside, Xian treats him to a lavish feast. Our guy immediately recognizes the dishes from a high-end restaurant that even the original protagonist couldn't resist. He eagerly takes a bite. As the golden crust breaks, the rich aroma bursts in his mouth. The exquisite taste completely blows his mind, leaving him incredibly satisfied. Not wanting to just freeload, our boy repays her with a crucial warning. By exposing a top-secret bombing threat against her company, he leaves the heiress absolutely speechless. Han Xian reveals that the real threat to her isn't Jaein, but an underground alchemist. Hearing this, our boy can't help but marvel at her mysterious and highly accurate information network. To win her family's power struggle, she offers an 8-figure salary to recruit the mysterious Kim Jin-woo, leaving the door open with a casual dinner invitation. The offer is extremely tempting, but our guy isn't about to become a corporate pawn. Standing on the rooftop, he activates his newly acquired A-rank combat boots instead. With a burst of blue light, he unleashes the airwalk skill. He effortlessly dashes through the night sky, thoroughly enjoying his massive mobility upgrade. After a high-speed joyride, he lands safely, taking a moment to catch his breath after burning through his stamina. Cut to the next day, the brutal school life continues. The magic law teacher ruthlessly announces a 2-person research assignment, instantly drawing groans from the exhausted class. While others beg for an extension, our boy is completely unfazed. With his past life knowledge, he can finish it in a day now. He just needs to find a suitable partner to coast through it. In the middle of class, the icy senior Yahello suddenly invites our boy to join her group. This sparks instant jealousy among the students, who complain about the top students hogging all the talent. Faced with the sudden invite, our boy plays it cool despite his internal confusion. Yahello simply tells him to meet her at the training grounds after school and walks off, leaving him to wonder about her motives. Our boy figured this was a perfect chance to investigate Yahello, as he's always suspected there's more to her. However, the sheer pressure she emits during their private meeting is starting to feel ominous. He didn't expect her to be so blunt, as she immediately claims to know his true identity. This curveball leaves our boy completely stunned, wondering how his cover was blown so easily. Meanwhile, the terrorist leader disguised as the famous artist Charlotte makes a grand entrance. She specifically requests Lee Seojin's presence, clearly aiming to get close to the child of prophecy. Cutting to the villain's hideout, the gang is bickering over roast chicken. One agent desperately defends his performance while kneeling, insisting he never took his eyes off the target for even a second. He claims to have monitored everything from Seojin's grades to his relationships. However, his superior isn't buying it after all. If the surveillance was so perfect, why does Seojin keep getting into trouble? As the villains continue to argue and fight over their meal, the atmosphere feels surprisingly comedic. But despite their antics, their dark plot against the academy is already well underway. Meanwhile, the executives of the terrorist group Jaein are gearing up for tonight's raid. To avoid drawing too much attention from the authorities, they decide to hold back and disguise themselves as ordinary thieves. While her subordinates stand by in their thief disguises, the villain boss is warmly hosting the students at the mansion. Knowing he's in enemy territory, our boy remains completely unfazed and just focuses on enjoying the food. The terrorist group's core mission is to test Lee Seojin's true strength. To gather intel, the scheming employer smoothly steers the conversation toward him, using the topic of family to dig into his background. Unaware of her true intentions, Lee Seojin openly admits he's an orphan. Even though he doesn't remember his family, he still hopes to make them proud wherever they are. His sincere words make the atmosphere at the table a bit heavy. The disguised employer gently holds his hand to comfort him, but beneath this warm facade, a deadly crisis is already closing in. After a quick meal and a briefing, the squad gears up to start their scheduled patrol around the mansion. The purple-haired spy tries to make her move, but our boy smoothly intercepts, grabbing Lee Seojin under the excuse of discussing patrol routes. Left in the dust, the spy fumes with deadly anger as her plan is ruined, while Yahello watches the whole scene unfold. Walking away from the trouble, Seon quietly plots the safest route to keep Seojin far away from any potential incidents. Suddenly, Seojin stops and drops a bombshell. He directly points out that Seon's unique combat style is exactly like the famous mage Kim Jinwoo's. Hearing his secret alias called out, our boy starts sweating bullets. He desperately plays dumb, claiming the famous hero is way stronger than him. But Seojin isn't buying it. He sharply questions why Seon hides his true power after telling him not to, leaving our guy scrambling for an excuse. Just as things couldn't get more awkward, Yahello suddenly steps out from the shadows. Claiming she was just taking a walk, she smoothly joins the interrogation. After some wild overthinking, Yahello confidently concludes that our boy isn't just slacking, but actually rehabilitating his lost top-tier power. This wild theory leaves Lee Seojin completely shocked, scoring our guy massive system points while he realizes his previous potion caused this misunderstanding. Since the perfect excuse is handed to him, Our boy plays along with a pained expression. The pure-hearted Seo-jun instantly falls for it, apologizing profusely. Taking full advantage of the situation, he casually sends the two heavy hitters to patrol the perimeter, finally breathing a sigh of relief as the crisis passes. Free from his teammates, our guy sneaks deep into the mansion, which turns out to be a secret stash house for the villainous organization Jaein. He quickly zeroes in on a suspicious grandfather clock. Faced with layers of magic seals, his system instantly pops up with the perfect solution. While everyone else is busy with their tasks, our boy downs a mana-concealing potion, ready to quietly clear out the loot before any real intruders show up. With blue energy surging around him, he doesn't hesitate to activate his exclusive trait, officially kicking off his one-man heist in the shadows. Back with the tricked teammates, the ever-guilty Seo-jun strictly follows orders, heading out to secure the perimeter just as he was told. Meanwhile, staring into the night, the proud upperclassman falls into deep thought, growing increasingly curious about just how strong our boy truly is. Outside the mansion, two terrorist members are secretly observing and discussing their target's combat rank, completely unaware that they aren't as hidden as they think. Meanwhile, Seo-jun, who is focused on his mana training, suddenly senses something off. He opens his eyes and spots Senior Minnie sneaking around. Back indoors, our boy knows the third party outside is about to cause massive chaos. To grab the loot before the mess starts, he activates his system trait to decode the security magic. Using his past life knowledge, he skillfully tweaks the magic formula to bypass the alarm. With a flash of blue light, he leaps down and lands smoothly in a hidden underground space. Right before his eyes is the villain organization's highly guarded secret vault. Looking at the premium loot, our boy can't help but smirk, ready to empty the place. Meanwhile, the guards outside feel a bit uneasy about the lurking monsters, but decide to ignore it for their paycheck, completely unaware that their base is currently being robbed blind. Outside the mansion, the guards were chatting casually, unaware of the fatal danger. Emerging from eerie purple smoke, the otherworldly assassins struck instantly, taking their lives without making a sound. Meanwhile, the undercover spy met with the assassin leader. She begged for the chance to eliminate Lee Seo-jun, but the leader coldly insisted on confirming if he was the child of prophecy first. Not knowing the truth, Lee Seo-jun heroically rushed out to save his senior. As he clashed with the enemy, the cunning spy played along, acting perfectly like a helpless victim. However, the situation completely spiraled out of control. The intruders weren't mere robbers, but terrifying otherworldly monsters. Facing the leader's overwhelming purple energy, Lee Seo-jun was clearly outmatched on his own. Under the leader's cold command, the entire perimeter defense was ruthlessly wiped out. Bathed in blinding purple light, a massive swarm of monsters surged toward the mansion like a deadly tide. When the grim news reached the inside, everyone's heart dropped. The mercenary group was completely annihilated, and they were now surrounded by deadly S-rank monsters. A desperate fight for survival was about to begin. Tensions are high in the hallway, yet his teammates are busy imagining a love triangle, feeling sorry for poor Kim Seon-woo. Realizing they need backup, Era suggests calling for help, only to find out the disguised Charlotte has already slipped away. Meanwhile, the otherworldly assassin glares at Seo-jun. He knows a head-on fight is suicide, and being stuck in these dead zone mountains makes things even worse. Back in the lounge, the group gathers to strategize. Seeing a lump under the blanket, they assume our boy is just hiding in fear. Furious, Era rips off the blanket to wake him up, only to leave everyone stunned. It's just a decoy, and Seon-woo is long gone. So where is our boy? He's chilling in the mansion's secret vault, securing the last High-Year scroll into his magic circle. Looking at the treasures, he shamelessly stuffs them into his subspace pocket, maxing out its weight limit with a huge grin. Fully loaded, he steps into the portal to escape. His plan is flawless. Sneak back on time and let a third party distract the main villain. But the moment he steps out, he ends up face to face with the terrifying otherworldly assassin. Looks like our boy's real crisis has just begun.